Heather, I just, it's always so funny because I feel like it's just always so funny. I feel like the folks don't realize that before these, we talk for like 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
We have a whole catch up just to like get in the groove. And it winds me up. I get
Mm-hmm.
so riled
Me
and
too.
excited. I need the listeners to know how riled and excited I get talking to Heather.
Oh,
It's truly a highlight of my week every time.
same,
It really
same.
is. It's
Uh,
just nice.
this
And
morning I was like,
go, sorry,
it
sorry.
was like I set my alarm for 7:30 a.m. after getting home at
Oh,
like
Heather,
at 1
no.
a.m. last night. and but I woke up and I was like, I haven't talked to Miranda in a while. I'm excited. I'm gonna shower. I'm gonna get some
Uh,
energy. It's good. It's good.
my
And
Pisces
I
ass
do.
would
I
never.
feel wound up.
I was like,
Uh,
Heather, if I was on the East Coast and our tables were turned, this podcast would be over.
is though. No, that's not
We would
true.
never record. No,
You
I'm just kidding. I
because
always do feel for Heather though, because yeah, you
no,
were
but I am
squeezing
a
things in.
morning person. And like when you
Crazy.
say that you're
You're
up
right.
at midnight, like editing, I'm like, I could never. Like I
Okay.
literally my body can't. Like
Right.
I have to just watch TV at that point.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I do. It's weird. I do wonder if this would honestly be a great or a great question for you. Um, like I don't know if that's a Pisces thing. Maybe
Mm,
it could be Gemini, perhaps. I've always, and I also just think it's like it's probably just not a healthy thing. I've always There's something about knowing everyone's like home or the day's done. I can't explain it. My most creative thoughts or my most like focused thoughts, I guess just most of my like more relaxing thoughts happen at
yeah.
night. I've always felt
Yeah.
more creative at night. I've always been a night out. There's been moments in my life where that just had to change due to like work or school. But it's my weird like creative state. And I know that we differ on that because like Heather will be like, yeah, I woke up this morning and I like wrote, and I'm like, you what? How?
No, but that
How
is when
like
my brain is
physically
wired
how?
for that. No,
Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's yeah, and like I don't know, maybe it's ADHD on top of it all, but
No, but
it
Jake
is
is like you.
interesting.
I feel like it's just it depends. I don't know.
It
But
is interesting that certain
yeah.
people feel yeah. And similar to Jake, I like horror movies.
Yeah, yeah. I feel
um
like there's inspiration from the
I
moon,
don't
from the
know.
night, from yeah.
Honest I Weirdly, it's just something about like I've always recognized myself as a night owl in the way that I just like I feel better. I can't explain it, just it's my comfort. Yeah. The morning
Yeah.
is god awful. But maybe it's because I'm a night owl and I was up so late.
Right, right. No, it makes
Could
sense.
just be simple science.
Yeah. I
Because
mean, I knock
I
out at
try
like
to be a
11
morning
sometimes.
person. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
No,
we can't fight who we are.
God help who tries.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I do sometimes wonder if that is
A
if that's
Pisces thing.
related to or just like an astrology thing in general.
Well, so I was gonna say,
Please.
there was this astrologer that I was following for a while named Dana Gerhardt, and she has a lot of really great articles on astrodience. Like she breaks down all the houses in a way. I was obsessed with her for a second because she just writes in a way that's very easy to understand.
Mm.
Um, and there's an article she wrote about the rising sign and like how this issue of being a morning person or a night owl could be dependent on your rising sign. Her theory was that like because the rising is like the horizon of when the sun rises, that's maybe an indicator of like how you start your day. And so if you're like Gemini rising, you might be very curious, go on Reddit right away. You need like conversation stimulation. But and then
Mm.
like then whatever is in your fourth house, your IC is like your morning like breakfast time, and then like the descendant would be like lunch, I guess. And I don't know, I was like, it's a bit of a stretch, but I also
That's
thought it was like
interesting
it's
though.
interesting. Yeah.
Well, and I just do feel, and I think there's many creators who also, well, again, God, let me relax. We're so early into the episode. But like with Taylor Swift, for example, her whole album Midnights, and I've always known this about her because I've been a fan. For those of you who are new to the pod, I've been a fan for a long time. And so she's always talked about that, where like a lot of her best writing is like when she can't sleep. And I think that would happen to me a lot in school. Like, God, the having to go to bed, or like I dreaded going to bed, which again, then I look back and I'm like, that's an ADHD thing, because it was really all my thoughts, like my Gemini moon would be alive and awake. And I wonder almost if that's it. If like my moon's awakened by the moon, and naturally my moon's fucking
Right.
Gemini, and all of a sudden is curious about everything and wants to
Yeah.
think
That's
about everything
interesting.
from the, no, I don't, I'm really kind of throwing things out here, but I find it interesting for
Yeah.
me. But I remember feeling like solace in the fact that solace, let me
Yeah.
not try
So
to use
without
SAT
soul.
words. I remember just feeling, well, like comforted.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, Heather, it's early. It's early. It's not. It's 12:30. And I'm like, God, I can't think. I've had 2 cups of coffee. That's not enough. But I just remember being very comforted by like one of the creators I look up to also can't sleep at night and has severe anxiety, and like gets a lot of her that create that like a lot of that gets like flushed out from doing something creative. And then it was like after midnight she released the 3 a.m versions, and like she's always been, a lot of times in hers you can just tell even from her songwriting alone that she's writing at night, or like these
Yeah.
thoughts and like her needing to get them out happen at night, because she has
Mm-hmm.
so many songs that's like it's 2 a.m or blah blah blah, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking of you. Anyways, and so, but my dad I think was kind of similar too. And my dad is who he's a Virgo, and I really align with him and the way he like is like his creative expression, and like a lot of our spiritual, like Virgo to Pisces human to human talks and connections would also happen at night. And my mom was always the morning bird and had to go to bed a lot earlier. My dad still had to wake up at the same time as her, but was a lot like me, where it was just like couldn't fall asleep unless like purely exhausted. So I don't know. It's also like I think I was raised in a way that's like nighttime's where it's at. That's where I have human connection and the day's done. And like
Yeah.
it's just there's no responsibilities to be had.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
play part is getting to like connect with dad, or I don't know. It is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm a big part of my night owlness comes from my dad as well, and sharing
Mm.
that growing up. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
night owls and
Yeah. That
wanted to
makes
like,
sense.
it's just interesting.
My mom and I are both morning people, and we'd often
Mm,
wake up at like 7 a.m. and be the only people awake with our coffee in the living room, like writing
that's
side by
right.
side with like the pets coming out. And yeah.
It's a similar energy. It's just truly, yeah, like flipped. That's really
Mm-hmm.
fascinating, Heather. It
Mm-hmm.
is. It is.
But maybe
I would
it is
love
genetic. Like maybe it is
it.
something I kind of inherited from my mom. You inherited from, I don't know.
Well, I remember my grandma about to get my parents in trouble. Well, my dad also worked, I'm like, he was a doctor, worked nights. Just kidding. But he
Alex
worked
Nightingale's
nights.
mom. Oh,
Oh, really? She's a
a
doctor who works
nurse
nights. Ah,
who
yeah.
worked a lot of night shifts. Yeah. Anyway.
A great, as an extra special juicy shout out. Speaking of the queen of the Libras,
The
Alex
queen of the
Nightingale
Libras.
just had her birthday. It was so funny. Her birthday was this past Friday, and I was on set all day working, and like it was the New York, it was, if you saw this online, New York flooded everywhere. um there was just like, we had severe, I think there was a national emergency. Is that right? State emergency. And I was like, well, that's
Shit.
great, I'm already out. Like, and it was a miracle I just got to work and my trains happened to be working. But it was like, it was a wretched day. I had to walk through ankle deep water with my super expensive rain boots that were in my closet at home, because I did not realize it was going to rain like that. All
Fuck.
like it was awful. It was awful. And like one of my jobs on set that day was to run up to Costco to go get socks for everyone, because everyone had like soaking wet feet. It was really bad. There were cars, like the water was up to the hoods of some cars in some areas, basements flooded, pipes burst. It was a whole,
Holy
the
shit.
infrastructure just like crumbles when New York just gets too much rain. because it's just the water can't drain fast enough, and then like it drains down to the subways. It was a mess. It was truly a mess. All the subways weren't working. Uber was like spiking up. I had a day. Alex texted me at like 11 p.m. that night. I've survived a hurricane. I've survived a monsoon. Alex Nightingale, the Libra that she is, texting me, you have like 12 minutes. Or she texted me like, I think she was like, you have 30 minutes. I forget exactly what it was, but she was just like, and it hit me. I was like, because I had it in my calendar and everything. I was just so swamped.
her
and like,
birthday?
yes. And she literally texted me
Literally
like,
swamped.
because she knows I'm the Pisces and she has to
Right.
check in with me on that. But it
You
was
have 30 minutes.
hilarious to me that she was like, like, thank God she texted me, as awful as that sounds. And I was so extra frustrated because I did have it in my calendar. I do love texting Alex on her birthday, obviously.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, but the day was truly, I was like up at 7 and then like truly there till I want to say like 8 or 9. It was such a long day and we got such pushback because of the rain. Like, it was a madhouse.
No, it makes sense.
But she was like, it was just, our relationship was so funny. She's like, no, you're the one person I knew I had to text to make sure we weren't in a fight.
Make sure we weren't in a fight.
So extra juicy shouts out to Alex Nightingale. I love her so much and I missed her, and she's living her best life in Miami temporarily. But it's gonna, anyways. So yeah, her mom working nights, right? I was like, how do we get on this?
Yeah.
But my grandma was always pissed because when I was like younger, when you're really supposed to, I guess, like have a bedtime, I never did. And my grandma would like visit and she was like, this child needs, it's 7 p.m. Why is she still awake? Like I was
right.
But my dad, he worked at a furniture store, and which he now manages. It's kind of funny as I bring that up. But like he worked at a furniture store and had late nights, and it was like he really wanted to see me when he got home. And so he was always like, don't put her to bed, to my mom, because he was like, I want to at least like get home, and because he would like not see me all day. Yeah, precious, just very sweet little father Drew. But anyways, and I think that's also why I didn't really have a bedtime, because my dad really wanted me to stay up and see him. And then that became my life, was always just like waiting up for dad. And now it's like, I'm just a night owl. But yeah, I never had a proper bedtime as a kid. So that's probably where this all stems from.
Oh,
thanks, Drew.
Cute, though.
No, that's really cute. When I found that out, I was like, Anyway, yeah, shouts out to Drew. Shouts out to Drew and Kim. They're good
to
ones.
Alex and Kim
and to Alex
and the
and
usuals.
Kim's
Taylor
birthday.
Swift.
And Taylor Swift. Kim's birthday is October 6th. Shouts out to Kim Linsky on that
Oh,
one.
very soon.
My mom's birthday. Yeah, she's very soon. She is.
Did you get the birth time yet? Do we know?
No. What? I'm gonna text
Miranda,
her.
you had one job.
I know. I'm gonna text her right now. Heather, take the reins. No, but yeah, I do. I want to look into that more now. I'm interested to know like if there's a correlation between like maybe some elements of the astrological sign are more known for the night owl. And maybe some aren't. I'm just really fascinated by that now. I want to take a poll.
The
I feel like must write in.
Yeah, I feel like my Pisces planets come out at night. Like I definitely can't work at night, but like I can understand how Taylor Swift gets inspiration and like writes romance songs, because like the romantic part of me, I feel like, comes out when I'm like in bed, like
there's something about the nighttime.
It has a romantic quality.
Yeah. Well, and now too, like since studying astrology more, and especially like the moon phases more, when it's like new moon energy or like full moon energy, obviously that energy, we've talked about this, it's not just like a short window while the moon is out that night. There's an energy that we kind of stay in for, there's like a pre and a post energy and an actual one, right? Like,
right.
It's almost like a couple days long that we're in whatever major moon phase we're in. And since that too, I think like, I love having new moon and full moon rituals. And I love doing that at night while the moon is out. But again, if you're not a night owl, it's okay. You could still do it in the morning and still connect.
Yeah, totally.
But there's something so fun about a little time with my tarot deck, my little crystals, by the candlelight, baby. And it's October. So like the sun's going down at fucking 2 p.m. and like it's getting really dark, and there's something about bending the knee to that vibe, and I'm feeling
Yeah.
very nighttime, spooky
Yeah.
witchy. That could also be it right now as well.
Yeah. 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 I feel you. Do
I
you
bet
feel
Scorpios are night owls.
Oh, definitely. Oh my God. They're like, whose account can I hack? It's 1 a.m.
Sorry, Heather, what were you gonna say?
um, do you feel like I feel like as soon as Libra season started, I'm like such an emotional person. I feel like, especially in this phase of life right now where there's a lot of unknowns and stuff, I feel like I like cry almost once a day, but it's healthy. But anyway, but like as soon as Libra started, I'm feeling like weirdly detached. Like I feel a different energy in me where like I can well, I say that, but then I just broke down to Jordy the other day. But anyway,
Shouts
for
out to
the
Jordy.
most part, shouts out to Jordy for comforting me when I had an existential crisis. But um yeah, but in general, I feel like I'm way more detached. Are you feeling that? Like I'm like I don't know. I'm
That's
more able to like look at situations and I don't know if it's
not feel
logic,
as
but yeah, I'm more like I can look at it intellectually and I'm not as
it's not
deep in
all
the
coming from a place
trenches.
of feelings first. It's almost
Yeah, yeah,
there's a an essence in the air that's like no. I feel like I'm very aware. It is interesting that you say that, Heather, because I think I'm in a place of being a very aware, and this is something I try to work on all the time. Again, Pisces. So I lead naturally. It's just I lead with emotion. I feel it, and that's what it is until I process that shit. It's also why in over the years, and I still work on this, my knee jerk reactions or just having there's just so many times I've been like, you just needed to give yourself like 5 minutes.
me
You just
too.
needed to take a lap. You just needed to breathe for
Mm-hmm.
a second and not maybe express all
Mm-hmm.
that right then and there. Right. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's taken years of like learning and sort of like being like, oh, not everyone feels as what you get it. And
It's
I
hard.
do. I don't know. It's interesting that you say detachment because I do think that you and I can both agree on this, or something that we bond over is that we're feelings led first, or that is our initial like way of
Yeah.
processing and way of like moving forward, right? And I think not that Libra doesn't feel or can't feel by any means, but it's almost like I'm moving forward with feeling and logic at the same time. Like I'm very aware of what's feeling, and I'm very aware that it's okay to have it, but I'm also, if that makes sense, like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's it is interesting that you say that. So it's not, yeah, I don't know if I would personally use the word detached, but I feel like I get what you're saying when you say that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it is interesting. Well, and like, again, I want to say, like, I know that we've talked about this before too, where I feel like as the signs as elements, right? Water almost feels the most different from itself. Like Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio all feel like, even though they're water elements, they almost bring very different energies.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, I feel like Earth is sometimes a little more in tune. Like, to me, there is a lot more similarities, like with Earth.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you personally feel that? And those are just examples. Fire, too. Like, I think a lot of like, fire is a little more, but air and water to me are the two elements. Totally feel free to disagree.
No,
I want to be
I'm
challenged on
agreeing with
this.
you, but yeah, yeah,
Where
continue.
individually as signs, they could not almost be more different from each other. Like the only
Yeah.
thing they share is, that's how I feel about water, where it's like
Yeah.
they all do carry the same water aspect, but the way they like, I could not sometimes
Mm-hmm.
feel more different from a Cancer, for example,
Yeah,
or like,
yeah,
and again, it's just it's the same. But then like then I get to know a Cancer, talk to them a little bit, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh my god, we're the same. I just
Right.
mine's right here on the sleeve, isn't it? Right. And
Yeah.
whereas like, yeah, I feel like air is similar, where they're the same element, but they almost could not be
I
like on the farthest spectrum
totally
from how they express that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. I can tell usually I feel like when someone has a lot of air energy, but also I can pick out an Aquarius like that or like a
Right.
Gemini who's a real Gemini. I'm like, you're
Yeah.
Gemini, you're not Libra, you're not Aquarius. Yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
you. I wonder what it is. I mean, I feel like fire is very like raw and I don't know. I don't know if it's because you and I have a lot of air and water that we feel that way or
Yes,
if there
that's
is
also
something to
why,
that.
yeah. I am curious. I'm like, are you just biased or, but no, in the same way that like we've talked about this before, fire as an element, not to like compare the elements in a way. We've talked about this. Fire as an element is what it fucking is. It's like I don't
Right.
know how else to explain it. It's fire.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's
not.
in your it's a little more like you're gonna feel the heat. You're just gonna
Yeah.
feel the heat. It's
Yeah.
fire, right?
Raw
Same,
inspiration. Yeah.
and I think the same with water, but whereas again, we talked about how water, it's not that they're weak, they're actually very good with flow and molding to and being able to adapt to situations. So it's like not that you can't feel water from someone by any means, but I think water as an element adapts, it bends, it goes with the flow a little bit more. Fire as an element, it's fucking fire. Like it is
Mm-hmm.
what it is. I don't know if I'm explaining that right at all, but like in my brain, it makes sense. So
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
me, like the fire signs as elements, it's what it is what it is.
Yeah.
Water again, it is what it is, but it can bend. It can sort of form around rock, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, and then air too, it feels like it is kind of its I don't know how to
I
explain
wonder
it.
if too, I'm just now thinking, I feel like there's something a little bit more social about both water and air.
Mm, interesting.
Right? So like I wonder if that's a part of it, that like when we're socializing with those signs, we're seeing more so the quirks of their sign manifesting in a social way, because water is so intuitive and needs connection, and air needs cerebral connection with others and to like conversate. Maybe that's why they're a little
Mm.
bit more distinct.
That's really interesting,
Whereas fire
Heather.
is really just more about being yourself, feeling that
Yeah.
fire energy, and earth is about mastering the practical life. um I don't know, maybe
Well,
that's it.
well, again, even as elements, like I don't know if this is making sense when I explain it, but like water and earth, literally
Yeah.
as elements, there's movement there. Not that there's not or I'm sorry, water and
Right, I see what you're
air.
saying.
There's
Yes.
natural movement, like them
No, you're
as
right, you're right, you're
elements,
right, you're
right?
right. Yeah.
No, like I'm also not disagreeing with you by any means, but
Yeah.
earth and fire, not that there's not movement there, it's just more of like exactly like when water
It exists.
I
No, it
gotta fucking
exists.
relax.
It's not.
When
Yeah.
water, like water can erode earth, right? But it's because like this is totally stupid, stay with me. When earth gets eroded, right? The Grand Canyon, for example, that earth is moving because of the water. And all I mean
Right.
by that is like the earth is the earth. Like there's really not much more it is its element in a way that it's like this is what I envy about earth and what I
Mm-hmm.
envy about fire is the way that they just
It's
are. It is what it
stable.
is.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It's
And they just
stable,
like,
grounded.
there's just like I know myself. I just am who
Mm-hmm.
I am in a way that I'm so envious. And I think earth and air do a lot, not maybe so much searching themselves, but it's like, well, I have this natural ability to adapt and mold in a way that not all signs can really, or it's not
Yeah.
in their, not that they can't, but it's more of just, it's not in their nature, right?
No, no,
Water
totally.
and air, it's like in their nature to change, to adapt.
To move
And
to,
I think
yeah.
that's something that water and air have to, that's a huge part of being water and air is learning when not to move and adapt. Just because you can doesn't mean you have to. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that about earth and fire. That's what I'm so envious of. In the same way that I think earth and fire, there's a growing ability to being that sign too, of just because it's not in your nature to budge or adapt and change doesn't mean it's also not necessary to growth and the overall experience, right?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm having a Libra moment, Heather, because I'm like, it's a perfect balance.
I love that though.
But
That's,
you know,
yeah.
like, I'm so sorry it was just I'm sure I didn't need to go that roundabout with it, but like to me, I'm like, it also just clicked for me that I'm like, this is why they symbolically, it's just so interesting. This is why symbolically the signs are what are matched with the
Yeah.
elements that they are, and literally what they embody
Yeah.
is very much the energy of the elements that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can't make this shit up.
No, you really, really can't.
It's
You
just
can't.
really, really fascinating. So I get what you're saying about the socializing. And I also
Mm-hmm.
think that like in the same way, yeah, that I do. I think there's a lot of like air adapts and wants to maybe change or like go with the flow, or and it's
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot like you said, Gemini has that natural born curiosity in a way that
Mm-hmm.
Gemini likes. Like Gemini
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to box itself, for example. Gemini's like, well, there could just
No.
be all these options.
Mm-hmm.
And I think same with Pisces. Pisces is so like, well, I could
But
see a million
also,
different sides.
totally. But also, Gemini and Pisces are both mutable signs. And as you were talking about this, and like that adds a whole other layer because like
Right.
mutable is a category of adapting, and it's that transitional energy of like we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
carry this into the next weather season. And
Mm.
uh yeah, so they say that like mutable signs are the ones that excel at adapting and need to adapt. And like
So maybe I'm just a
no,
mutable
no, no.
sign.
But I think that everything you were saying is true too. That's the thing with astrology is like there's
The
so
layers
many ways to categorize. It's just
and look
so
at it.
freaking complex, but that's what makes
Right.
it so
But again,
accurate
you
in a way,
can't,
or like, yeah,
right? Because it's like very similar to science. We're simply making
exactly. Everything
observations,
is complex and nuanced and
scientific, factual observation.
yes.
No, yeah, I love it. And I love discussing the elements on a more vague. Sometimes like I have to like zooming out like that, I think helps my brain wrap around things. But you're so right when you get more detailed and into it. But it just always still, I think, surprises me that I still get surprised at how much these elements symbolically are represented in the
Yeah,
astrological realm. It really, and it's
totally.
exciting to be reminded of it, I think.
I know. And I love
Um,
when you bring it up and
well,
make
my brain has to
metaphors.
create an image that
Yeah,
no one
yeah.
needs but
I
me.
love that about you. No, no, everyone
Thanks,
needs
Heather.
it. It's such a good quality.
My Pisces is like, no, 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 look over here. Watch this. Watch me get to A and B miraculously.
I know it is. It's a gift.
Thanks, Heather. Oh, and it's also my Gemini. I can talk through a circle all day, baby.
I
No,
love
yeah,
it.
I love it. I do. I like Libra season is bringing, this is it, right? Like it's like this balance of like weighing all the options of what it could be.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, I do. I enjoy this sign a lot. And I don't
Yeah.
know if you were trying to say, Heather, earlier that like you noticed, not that you've been detached, but I also wonder if it's the lightness of Libra that you're feeling.
Well, yeah,
A
I
little bit.
think
Yeah.
that's yeah. I feel like whenever you're in air, there,
There's a
I do
lightness.
think there's a propensity to like overthinking, and I think I am doing that a bit, and I am like in a decision sort of state of mind of like
Mm-hmm.
but
Weighing your
also Libra
options.
falls in my second house of values, and it's Taurus's
Mm-hmm.
house of like how do you give yourself security based on your values, and that's been a huge. So it's worth looking at the
Yeah.
house that you're in as
Yeah.
well, because that's definitely been highlighted for me. But yeah, no,
That's
it's
right. I need to look at mine.
I wouldn't
Sorry.
say I'm not like overthinking and I'm not like existential, but it's just not such a heaviness right now.
Right.
I don't know.
I get that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, Libra's probably the lightest of all the signs, I would
Really?
say. I want to say so. I mean, I guess you could say Leo is the sun and it like shines a light and loves the spotlight. But like Libra, I think honestly, I think because well, it comes before Scorpio. And
Mm.
when we live in this society that is kind of working against us and kind of I don't know. I maybe I shouldn't make sweeping statements like that, but sometimes I feel like it's very easy to be pessimistic. Um, and because Libra is the scale and it likes to balance things, I think that Libra likes to be cheerful to lift people up. Like I think
Yeah.
it strives to just always
Yeah.
veer toward the positive. It tries to. I'm not saying every Libra is good at this because sometimes I think there's the Libras who sweep it under the rug long enough and then you catch them on a day and it's but you know, you get what I'm saying.
Oh, I do. I'm like, also though, I feel for any Libra who has a Pisces as their daughter.
Oh my God.
I just, everything about me is like so backwards to my mom, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, it's
Respectfully.
interesting. I know a lot of people who have Libra and Pisces together, and that is a wild mix.
I know. This is why Alex knew she had to text me.
Oh, so funny.
Alex, Libra sun, Pisces rising. No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pisces
Pisces
rising.
rising. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Sag
that's
ass
true. I know
looking
so
moon.
many people with that. Yeah, her Sag moon. is a
love her Sag
helpful
moon.
asset to those placements.
God bless her Sag moon.
God bless it.
She's going to be so proud of me. I read 3 books. I got to text her. Oh God, she's going to hear from this and yell at me. Anyways.
That's amazing.
But yes, I do. I feel, the quality that air, while it is interesting that air carries a lightness about it, in the way that I do know, I feel like air, do you feel like all air signs are overthinkers? Or there's a lot of thinking involved with air signs. The Libra, never, that, the funny joke about Libras can never make up their mind. And I'm like, well, it's a beautiful thing because they're weighing all their, it's not, they don't just, there is something beautiful to also not, while there's something fun about just making a decision on the whim, there's also something responsible and respectable about weighing all your options.
Decisions have consequences. Yeah, they're very aware of that. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that's where a lot of their thinking comes from, is the weighing of we got to think about this.
Yeah.
Whereas Gemini, the thinking, for as I understand it, is more of we got to think about this and get curious and
curiosity for sure.
Right.
For sure.
What would you say Aquarians are their thinking in the realm of?
It's more existential. It's the last air sign, and it's, I think, way more about what is my future, what is my purpose, what am I giving to the community. It's larger scope things.
That's right, because we talked when we Gemini coming more at the earlier and being a personal sign.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah, good job.
And Libra being in the
interpersonal relationship
section. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then Aquarius in the
universal, transpersonal.
Trans. I'm always like, what is the other personal one? Yeah, transpersonal one. Yeah. No, that's right. You just reminded me.
Yeah.
I was like, as I think about it, here's how these air signs think differently.
Yeah.
So, the layers.
I know. I love it. I love the categories. It's
some people have Star Wars, other people have Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I have this. And it's even better because it's I don't gotta wait for the next book, bitch, because it's not a fantasy.
It's not.
It's just every day is a new page turner. Oh,
hell yeah.
And with that, shall we move on to these Libra signs?
Yes.
We've got these are some fun ones.
They are. I'm excited.
They are. Some musical Libras we have on the list for us today, huh, Heather? Which is, we were just talking about this before we started recording the podcast, how you and I have been having a concert heavy year, but also week. Heather went to 2 concerts.
3.
I'm sorry. 3. Heather, you have to sleep.
I have to sleep. And I got sick while it was happening. And I'm still, anyway.
I'm so sorry. I know though. I literally got, knock on wood, because I just fucking had it. But I swear to God, I get COVID after every concert I go to. If not COVID, just a gnarly ass cold. It's crazy. The world. I don't even want to get into it. But
it would be a lot better if I was this passionate about film, or I could just go to a movie, but I choose this.
Yeah, I hear you. And I went to a concert this week as well. I saw Boy Genius at Madison Square Garden. Shouts out. It was awesome. And Luna opened for them.
Oh, fun.
It was so.
Oh, that's awesome.
One of the best concerts I've ever been to. And it was so cute. I just have always kind of felt this way about Boy Genius, but it was so fun getting to hear them banter, and they're so funny. And Phoebe, they introduced each other, which was so cute and fun. And Phoebe, when they introduced Julian, they were like, our brother in Christ. Phoebe got a huge laugh, and I was like, she's so funny. She's so Pisces coded.
Yes.
Anyway, but yeah, it was fun. And then Heather, you went to the 1975. Wait, what was the first concert? I'm sorry.
It was the PC Music, very intimate show, just 60 people capacity.
Out,
PC Music closing show, and then 1975, then the final PC Music closing show with Dylan Brady from 100 Gex was a surprise appearance. It's been nonstop. I danced my ass off at all 3, to the point where my body is has been recovering for a week. I'm sore all over, but a blast. I live for it.
Yeah, you deserve it. That's
Thank you.
that's so many fun shows. But yeah, and I was at that's why like so before this started, I was like, what's in the air? We've both been I didn't go to 3 concerts. I wish I did, but I'm like we both been going like concert heavy, and
Mm-hmm.
it made me question like Libra and music.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Libras in my life, again, they're both very personal to me, very close relationships. Like they're my two main Libras. But also, I have another Libra friend who's actually the one who got me into Muna, who I saw, who opened for Boy Genius. Like, my Libra friend is the one who pointed them out to me.
Alex?
Um, no, my
Oh,
another friend of
because
mine,
she likes
McLean.
them. Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah, I did not know Alex was into Muna. That wasn't
Mm-hmm.
Alex and I
I just
bonded
found
over
out.
Post Malone. We're like the only two people I know who like really love Post Malone. Um, but no, Alex, well, and then obviously I went to Taylor Swift with Alex, and that was so fun because Alex had never seen her live, and I'd seen her twice before, but it had been literally 13 years. And I remember I was just so excited to get to watch Alex. But then we also bonded because Phoebe Bridgers opened for her. And so, and Alex likes Boy Genius. Yeah. But my mom is also a big music head. Like I would say, out of all of the art forms there are, music is my mom's like favorite, and she taught me a lot about like, or she gave me a lot of my taste and stuff, and it's just interesting, and it made me and then of course the two we're doing today are musicians in their own right, and like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it just made me I'm interested to know more about the music and Libra connection as we go,
Mm-hmm.
because it's fascinating. It's
Yeah,
definitely in the
and
air.
Libra's Venus ruled, just like Taurus, who also
Mm.
tends to be very into music, and it's all
Mm.
about beauty and, very
Ah,
artsy, very yeah, attracted to beauty and poetry, different from Pisces. That's more about Pisces is the sign of the nebulous, the mystical, the music,
right.
but yeah, Libra too.
Yeah, because I know there's a big connection with Pisces and music.
Yeah, and Neptune, Pisces ruling planet, they say is like the exalted version of Venus, which is Libra and Taurus's ruling planet. So it makes sense that those three signs have this
Interesting.
connection to music. But Neptune, it's more of like there's just a spiritual, intuitive connection to like sound and poetry and
Interesting. That's interesting.
yeah.
Um, yeah. No, that's yeah. I've I hear that. Any music that's coming out right now too, it's just been like ruling my fucking life.
Ah,
Like Olivia Rodrigo's latest album that just came out. Oh my god. Yeah, no.
for me, it's the celebrity we're about to talk to that I've been listening to on repeat or
I
talk
know.
about.
Yes, you were just bringing them up, Heather. What an incredible segue. Thank you for that. And with that, our first celebrity Libra, none only than who's going to be performing at the Super Bowl, Usher.
Ah, what a
These are
talent.
my confessions. What a poet. I mean,
His
uh,
voice, his performance, like
uh,
it's no wonder that, he paved the way for Justin Bieber. He discovered Justin Bieber,
literally,
but
literally,
like Usher,
I know. Truly a triple threat.
a triple fucking threat.
Incredible voice, incredible moves, hot.
Mm-hmm.
And then it
Mm-hmm.
was so funny because Kim Kardashian, also a Libra, shouts out. We did her in season 1. But Kim Kardashian's a Libra, famously loves Usher. There was a whole episode where for her 40th birthday, the sisters surprised her with an Usher concert like in Vegas, and they ended up not being able to go due to weather, and the plane couldn't like land safely. So they had to go back, but it was like a whole thing because that's how much Kim loves Usher. And then for the Super Bowl announcement of Usher being the halftime performer, Kim Kardashian is featured in the commercial, which I just thought was they're both Libras. I just found that a cute little connection. And all of that got fucking mowed over because
So
Taylor
funny.
Swift went to Travis Kelsey's Kansas City game. Like literally the day they announced Usher as the Super Bowl halftime performer, the NFL changed their bios on all of their social media. That was like the NFL Taylor's version. Like it was
Poor
anyway, but
Usher.
it was a fun little way that it was announced. I know, and he'll be fine. But regardless of that, I just thought that was a funny
That is so funny.
little anecdote. But Usher is a Libra sun, Pisces moon. That explains Confessions Part 1 and 2. Virgo fucking rising. So that explains a lot about the like. I don't feel like Usher's put out super new music in a while. My
Right.
total apologies if he has, but that
I'm gonna
doesn't
look
mean
as you're
that.
talking.
Okay, yeah, thank you. But that to me, regardless if he has or hasn't, he's still no, like regardless, even if Usher has not put out new music, is my point. To me, he's relevant. Now, maybe that's because I'm a millennial, Heather, but Usher is still like Usher and he's still performing. And I don't know if the Vegas show was a residency. Go ahead.
He
What?
released a single on September 15th.
Oh, shit.
Just recently. No, but his last album before that, it looks like, was no, he had an anniversary album in 2022. Before that, it was 2018.
Okay.
So it's been a while.
In terms of him like dominating radio,
For
but like
sure.
that's just it. He's still they play yeah everywhere still.
Oh my
Like,
God, that song
please.
slaps.
It fucking
Oh, that's one of my favorite
rides.
songs.
It's
Oh my
still
God.
so good. Now, like maybe we're millennials, so like maybe
DJ
we're,
got us falling in love. I know. We're biased, but I
but you know
think
what I
these songs
mean?
are so good.
They are, and yeah, early 2000s is trending, baby. So the Zoomers are learning real quick. But yeah, I think Usher's still so relevant, regardless. But the Virgo rising to me is I feel like Usher has not, again, I could totally be wrong on this, gotten into really any trouble. He's not really been, he's always kind of had like a clean sort of, maybe I have this totally wrong, Heather. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you know, but I feel like he's never really been in the limelight for negativity
Not
that
that
I
I
could
can
think of.
recall. Yeah, no. And
Very Virgo
he's,
rising.
yeah,
Explains
even
a lot of his longevity, even though he, I'm saying not dominating radio, but like Kim Kardashian went to his concert in Vegas recently, or, like tried to. So, like, he's still out there. He's still relevant. And
mm-hmm,
it makes these, Pisces moon, Virgo rising. He longevity, I'm sure, is something he thinks about. Right.
mm-hmm,
And then the Libra sun, weighing the pros and cons of this lifestyle, wanting to stay in the game, that connection with like still being like a down to earth human, but you're fucking Usher, right? You
mm-hmm,
got one
mm-hmm,
name, for fuck's sakes.
mm-hmm.
So I don't know. The signs to me, his big three, from what I know about Usher, from what I understand of his career since I've been around, really speaks to me. I know we can probably end up twisting that into about anybody, but to me, that, yeah, when you think about someone who hasn't put out music in so long, similar to Rihanna during the Super Bowl, again, a Pisces sun. But
Yeah,
yeah, similar to that, like, hasn't put out brand new music or like dominating radio in that way in a minute, but then like had one of the best. I'm so excited for his halftime show. I really
yeah,
think it's gonna be a good one. Yeah.
yeah, totally. Me too. I am too. Yeah, what a force. But wow, the chart is interesting.
Oh,
It's at
what do
first
we see,
glance,
Heather?
I was like, this is a very harmonious, easy chart. And
Mm.
now the more I'm looking at it, because the aspects, it's like a lot of blue lines,
Yeah, I saw
a
that.
lot of like planets
Clumped.
from different areas of the chart getting along well. But yeah, but it is also clumped in the like first, second, third house.
Mm.
And the planets that are clumped together make a lot of challenges, like the sun right next to Pluto. I think I talked about that in maybe the last episode or one of the recent ones. That is like, Pluto is the most intense planet when you're experiencing like a Pluto transit. They say it is usually like a total breakdown of a lot of things in your life before there's like total renewal. So like if you're born with like Pluto next to the sun, you have that energy like within you,
Yeah.
which can often bring you to like great power, because you like understand power and the need to constantly regenerate. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's a tough placement. So is Saturn in the first, right on the ascendant, because Saturn is the planet of restriction and needing to master something, and it's a late bloomer. And so when you have that right next to the ascendant, that's like you have to work a little extra hard, use a lot of caution, and like work really hard on not being so hard on yourself.
Right. No, yeah.
So I'm sure there's like a perfectionistic quality to this chart with the
The
Virgo rising,
yeah,
with
I was gonna
Saturn
say, like,
conjunct. And his songs really, I do think, like show that. And his performer persona, I think, does.
yeah.
Like he is kind of, there is no perfect, but like he is like such a detail oriented triple threat, I think.
He's like
Like his,
clean.
yeah, and his voice is so pure and clean, and his songs are so just like perfect. Yeah. And lots of third house stuff. So I'm kind of surprised from like what I looked at. It doesn't seem like he writes his music.
I was gonna say,
But
because the rumor forever was his Confessions a True Story. Because it's all about Usher. It's sung from his point of view. Like, I got a girl on the side and she's pregnant and I'm heartbroken because I love the girl I'm actually with. But it was based on someone else's story, just like sung from, yeah. But again, the powerful raw emotion he carries to that performance. Yeah, I remember the longest time the rumor being that was really Usher's story, and it wasn't. It was
interesting.
like that was debunked, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
he
Usually,
sings it
even
like
if
it's
it's like
his.
inspired by, they still give you like a small writing credit, I think, but I couldn't find any. But
Oh,
yeah, I mean, the song that I've been obsessed with for the past week that I've been listening to on repeat,
mm-hmm.
Climax, which apparently came out in 2012. I see Pisces moon in those lyrics, and there's a lot of like,
Yeah.
I don't want this to be over. So
Mm-hmm.
interesting that he doesn't write it. But
My
yeah, he
boo.
performs it at my boo. Oh my
Yeah, well,
God.
and this is the thing too,
You
because
got it bad.
um he's so good. I can't
So
wait for
good.
the Super Bowl. Which the Jaguars will be playing at. Shouts out to Ball.
Oh.
No, they won't. I said, Heather, don't even play. Just kidding.
I'm an
But
idiot.
well, no, I'm you're not. But I say this every year, and hey, they might miracles happen. Miracles happen. Also a hit by Usher. What was I gonna fucking
Oh shit.
yeah. Oh, this is the thing that like this always kind of music is convoluted. I think there's so many elements of it that make it good. It doesn't always just like an artist doesn't have to be bad just because they don't write their own songs. Quite frankly and respectfully, that's not always what people care or want out of their artists. And I, all this to say, just because I think an artist doesn't word for word write their own music doesn't make them less of an artist. I think a huge part of artistry that people skim over or don't respect in the same way is being a producer of your brand, your image, and your in your art. This is also where I feel like Usher's longevity comes in. I think Virgos, their attention to detail, the Pisces, moon being such a like a futuristic like scope and a zoom out mixed
Yeah.
with that Virgo fucking rising of paying attention to the details. Being a good producer is being a good artist. And I just don't think they're always weighed the same. There's a similar conversation with fucking Beyonce. And it's like, well, Beyonce doesn't write all of her own music. And I'm like, quite respectfully, that's not why I'm fucking paying $200 to see her in concert. Like, the bitch has the pipes and
No,
she's got
totally.
the raw emotional performance aspect that makes her the queen.
If
And
you
I
have that level of talent as a performer, I do not give a shit if you write. Yeah.
and like even when you look at footage and you see interviews and like people have more of the context of who Beyonce was in Destiny's Child, she was Destiny's Child. So much of like their again, she's a Virgo. The image, the details, the longevity of like the message they were bringing, that's Beyonce's. Beyonce might not verbatim write all her words, but like the message that she wants across, she is the producer on her art. She is the artist, like don't, I
Yeah.
just want to be specific with that. And I think Usher does this so beautifully. I think he is such an incredible artist. And like, quite frankly, I don't need him to be writing every word. There's ways in which I think that is different. Like rap music, for example, I think we expect our rappers to rap. I think we expect our rappers, their words to be theirs, their lines to be theirs. And so many rappers, that's not the case. You look at a song and you see how many writers are credited on it. With pop, R&B, or just a lot more music in general, I think it's a little more vague than that, if that makes sense. Yeah. And anyway, my whole point is I feel like that becomes like a line for people of like, that's not artistry. And I just could not disagree more, because being a producer is being an artist. We forget.
No,
anyways,
it is.
And
It
to
is.
me, Usher, even if he's not writing his songs, the messaging that he wants across to the fans is there. His work feels very intentional. What he wants to say is still being said. And the way that he expresses it, which is that heavenly angelic voice and those smooth, fun moves. Anyway, sorry. Got a little tangenty there.
What a star.
Anything else we want to?
I don't think so.
We really kind of covered it, huh?
We did it. We did
Usher
it.
shouts out, come on the pod. After the Super Bowl, of course, we know you're rehearsing. Lots of
Everyone listen to Climax.
Yes, I'm going to after this, Heather. You've really, folks, for those of you who don't know, Heather Cunningham does not have bad taste in anything, but especially not music. And she's opened my world, my mind, my heart to so many artists that I would have probably just never come across. When she tells me to listen to Climax by Usher, you must understand it's the first thing on my list after this. That's all I'm going to say. Do yourselves a favor. Take Heather's suggestions not lightly.
Oh my goodness.
And with that, Heather, shall we move on to our next Libra?
Yes.
Also, I want to say these two artists are like, when I think of like the first CDs I've ever owned, both of these artists were are artists I still love to this day, again with their fucking longevity. But both of these artists, like, I had their CDs in elementary, like their debut albums in elementary school. Still have them at my home in Jacksonville, Florida. Just wanted to add that because
it's funny that we both ended up doing these two people. And also looking at this chart, totally looking at this chart, it's very similar. Like, oh my goodness, the placements. So Avril Lavigne, what a
skater
icon.
girl herself.
Skater girl.
She's the reason I made my mom buy me a skateboard in elementary school.
Oh,
I have like pictures of me going through a quote unquote Avril Lavigne phase, which I'll be quite honest, I've never grown out of, but did have to retire the skateboarding, was never good at it. But she made me want to be a little like a skater. She wanted me to be a little skater boy.
She's why I was so adamant about wearing a center part for all through elementary school.
Stand up here.
Yes, exactly.
Go on.
Which her aesthetic back then, you would not think Libra. Like, I remember when I found out she was a Libra, I was like, this isn't light and pink and but it does make sense.
It was punk though, and Libras are punk.
And Libra can be punk, and also she immediately after that became like pop, like kind of
was still her little twist of Libra punk, but definitely like more pop. And now is kind of, I guess, in a nice like mellow, even place with it. But she was definitely like punk and wanted to be that. Which again, I think went along with like her branding and her image, and like the longevity
helped her out. And I guess she got started singing in choir, so I think it's pretty badass that she was like, not only am I going to like pursue music, but I'm going to be skater boy.
And a lot of not tons of women were that at that time.
It's true.
Like I'm trying to think, like Gwen Stefani for sure. But like in terms of Gwen Stefani was more in a band. She did have solo stuff too, but Avril like came out with the guitar, with like being a little punk rocker.
Now that I'm looking at it, it makes sense given that Avril has moon in Scorpio, which adds a little bit of edge, a little bit of depth, a little darkness. But Libra rising. So all the planets are clumped again in houses 1, 2, and 3, but the sun is in the 12th house. And Mercury's in the 12th house. And I do want to say Avril writes her songs. The 12th house is very, it's the house of Pisces. It's very good at writing, of capturing the collective unconscious, and it's good at poetry and making connections.
Because I was also going to add, I just learned this tidbit super recently. I feel so behind. Maybe you already knew this, Heather. No, but maybe you are. Oh no, I do know what you're talking about though. Which, I love a good conspiracy.
Well, and I'll talk about that too. But anyway,
please. But I found out she wrote Kelly Clarkson's major hit "Breakaway."
Yeah, that was an Avril song. Know that, and it sounds like an Avril song. It does.
And then because she covers it later, and Kelly was like, "That was a great song," but she's like, "I feel like you can tell like it wasn't like." That album that was on Kelly's day, the album ended up being called that. It's like kind of the only song on the album that sounds like that. The rest is a little more like, trying to be a little more like rocky. And like Kelly Clarkson talks about Breakaway it's honestly kind of a country song. Avril is a writer. She definitely, so I'm not only does she write a lot of her own, I want to say I'm sure there's more stuff she's written for other
people that we're not even aware of.
Made her so much fucking cash. Like,
that song is so good. Yeah,
and it was gonna be for her, and then she ended up selling it to Kelly. So
wow,
yes, does write for sure. Isn't that great? I just found that out like this year. I had no idea.
Wow. Yeah, really no, that's cool. And it makes sense that I do think that this is a writer's chart. There's also Neptune conjunct Mars, conjunct Jupiter in the 3rd, the house of language and communication. But the fact that, so Scorpio moon, Venus conjunct Pluto, Sun in the 12th. They also say that Sun in the 12th is like secretive and like often when planets fall there, it's more difficult to like express it because it's in that Pisces nebulous, like, it's on another planet. It's like, but so there's this like, I don't know. I think it's funny that there's this conspiracy that Avril like actually died and that she has
that's right. I've heard of this.
A body double who is like living out her career as a pop star. And I think, all respect to Avril, I don't think it's true. I'm not going to publicly state that I stand by this conspiracy, but I think conspiracies are really silly and funny, and this one amuses me. But it's also like, I don't know, Sun in the 12th house, like this hidden Scorpio needing to die and rebirth. The themes are here in the chart.
That's really funny.
But she really did like rebrand herself after the first few albums. She's way more, but also she's married, or no, she did marry the lead singer of Nickelback. I don't think they're together anymore.
I was gonna say she's been married to all these rock stars. Life. Yeah,
she's had a lot of
famous people.
Yeah, and apparently she has Lyme disease.
Brody Jenner.
Sorry. Right. I know. I read that.
Are they still together?
No, they're not. But that is wild to me.
Is she dating someone in? Never mind. But I
don't know who she's with now. But she did date Brody
with
Jenner.
The Kardashians.
Yeah,
right now, which wild. Like it's a Brody Jenner thing, I think. But then also her and Travis Barker have worked on music together recently.
That makes sense.
They had like a song together. But then also the Brody Jenner thing, like Avril weirdly has been around the Kardashians. Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
that's really funny. I think. Anyway, wow. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I just it's
drama.
It is. It's interesting. Yeah. There's
because you never hear about her. Like, right. But she's friends with the fucking Kardashians, and it's Avril Lavigne.
Yeah,
we should be hearing way more, but she's private.
That Scorpio moon with the Sun in the 12th. There's like
she
private
to keep
hidden...
it under wraps. It seems.
Yeah. Also, this isn't a public chart. Like, there's nothing in the public houses. So what gets her off isn't like being in the public eye. She wants to be private and write her music and be a pretty Libra.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Avril's very fascinating.
Yeah.
Such fun Libras. This was a fun one, Heather. Not that they all aren't fun. I always obviously have fun doing this, but the just the Libra connection to music, Usher, Avril, they were so formative and still are for me, both of them. And the fact that they're both Libras.
I know.
It all makes sense, the world.
It does.
The world is an imperfect place, and then sometimes it's quite where it needs to be.
Uh-huh.
Let me move on with it. Heather, Shall we tell the folks what's coming up? What's going on?
Let's,
Where the movements are.
let's. Yes. So the personal planets are making some changes. Yeah. So the personal planets being Mercury, Venus, and Mars, they're the personal planets because they don't travel too far away from the sun ever. They're always, in motion with the sun. There's the retrogrades, but like in general, they're pretty close to the sun, whereas the outer planets stay in one sign forever.
Is Pluto Pisces?
Pluto is Scorpio, and that's the last planet. And you would think, but Neptune is Pisces. That's the second to last. But
I was gonna say Pisces is way out there.
Right. Neptune takes a long
and I
ass
know
time.
That Pluto's the furthest, so all of a sudden I was like, naturally, that's got to be Pisces.
No, you would think, but
no,
instead
funny,
it's
though.
Scorpio, the coldest plant furthest away. Yeah.
Neptune is Pisces.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry. Go on.
It's bright blue and pretty, but yeah.
It literally looks like Pisces.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes. So the personal planets support the sun. So you feel it when it moves into a new sign, I think.
Yeah.
So on October 5th, Mercury enters Libra. So Mercury is hanging out right near the sun. So we might have Mercury's the planet of communication, and when they say that when Mercury moves into Libra, you can have conversations about relationships very easily. You might intellectually look at the way you relate to others. There's just more of a intellectual, conversational tone to the Libra themes, how we relate, how we make decisions. October 9th, Venus finally leaves Leo. It's been there for fucking ever. And now it's going into Virgo. And then right after it goes into Virgo, it opposes Saturn. So it's opposite Saturn and Pisces, which is like not super fun for Venus. Venus and Leo is like, we want to go to concerts and have fun and be romantic and passionate. And now it's in Virgo where it's like, all right, gotta ground the passion and everything we've learned from the Venus retrograde. We have to ground it in now. And Saturn with the opposition right after is like, the teacher being like, have you done your work? But yeah, but no, it's good. But we need grounding. Yeah, I know. So we have these planets that haven't made their way through Virgo yet, coming into Virgo, like Venus. And then Pluto.
The school year really has started, folks.
Literally,
this is like when the testing always happens in finals before the fun winter break. You gotta fucking work before you could play.
Venus and Leo's over. I'm sad, but it's all right. It's all right. But yeah, then Pluto stops retrograding on the same day, October 9th, which is really cool because then we start the journey of Pluto entering Aquarius, which I've been so excited for, but that's not going to happen till like early next year. But still, Pluto's done going backwards in Capricorn. We're moving on forward. Nice. Pluto has the biggest effect on us as a collective. So I think that's exciting.
Oh, and then it'll be in Aquarius. So that's going to be extra. And they keep talking. We've been talking about the season finale, and the collective has been talking about the collective more. It could be the TikToks I'm just watching.
No, but it's a thing.
It's really and it's been a thing is the thing. And so it's exciting to see this, like, that there's going to be some fireworks when that happens.
I think so.
There's going to be some major, I think, communal changes. Go on.
Yeah, early next year, look out. And then on October 12th, so like a week from when we post this, Mars is going to enter Scorpio, and we have our first foray into Scorpio before Scorpio season. I just started watching a documentary series about a husband who's been cheating on his wife with his high school students. Fucking crazy. I know it's so gross. I shouldn't just drop that at the end of the podcast. But anyway, it's very Mars is about to enter Scorpio. Yeah.
Just kidding.
I don't know why I said that. But
I'm leaving it in. I'm leaving.
Yeah. But the betrayal, it's called. It's interesting. Jesus. But holy shit. But anyway, so yeah, then Mars enters Scorpio. So we're gonna have like the personal planets, Sun and Mercury in Libra, Venus in Virgo, Mars in Scorpio. So it's kind of cool that we have like a little bit in each of these signs. So this Libra season isn't so like all the focus on Libra. There's like a little bit of Scorpio, a little bit of Virgo. Adds nice dynamics to this Libra season. And then we have eclipses we'll talk about next episode. Very exciting.
Those are going to be big. Launching into some major movements. We really are. We're like buckling in for the season finale. I know we keep talking about this, but I mean, it's in the stars. It's literally in the map. It's what's happening as we move forward. It's
and
energetic, exciting time.
The second half of this year, we've been like with all these planets in retrograde, and then at the start of next year the planets go direct again, and so we're in a period now where it like can kind of feel like you're not making progress, but you are, and then by like early next year you're really gonna feel like the tangible progress. Catching up to the hidden progress. Yep.
Gorgeous. I've really been enjoying Libra. These movements are exciting. Listeners, we hope you're enjoying Libra too. It's an airy, light, and heavy balance time. It just is fun.
Listen to music.
Yeah, while you work.
yeah. Balance.
Listen while you work.
Listen
while you twerk.
Yeah.
Love you, listeners. Love you, Avril. Love you, Usher. Love you, Heather. Love you, Alex. Love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom.
Love you, Libras. We'll see you right back here next week, baby.
Infinite abundance. Bye.
Infinite abundance, bitches. Love you. Bye.